Hello Pisces, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for the Sun or the Ascendant for December. Now, I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but please stay with me. I then dive deep to give you a detailed analysis. Now, the great news to tell you on the very first day of the month is Neptune, your co-ruler, goes direct. It has been dragging its feet in retrograde since the end of June. So if you have felt that your motivation has been a little lower, it could be that Neptune is very close to either your Sun or another key planet or influence. Now, that's not the end of the good news, because Venus is coursing its way through your sector of friendship this month and connecting with Pluto. This suggests that there could be a reconnection with someone who has been very important in your life. And this could be something that really delights you. But there's more than this, because Jupiter, your other ruling planet, is set to rejoin you for the last 3 days of the year. Now, that may seem a little unfair that you've got to wait until then, but it's going to be with you again in 2022, but also going into your money zone. So don't fret, there's good news coming. There's also a fabulous solar eclipse on the 4th, which can give you a wonderful platform to express your business, commercial or worldly talents, not just this month, but into the first 5.5 months of the new year. And that also links with the steadying influence of Saturn. So all those lessons that you've learned over many years, all the experience of life, can come back to you in an extremely positive way. So please stay with me with my deep dive. But if you are new to my channel, I would be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free written daily horoscope sent to you on your device each morning, you can do so by subscribing on the link beneath this video. I've been writing these for over 25 years. My work's featured by Britain's most read daily newspaper. I also have written for the Press Association of Great Britain for about 20 years. And you can get your copy of your Pisces forecast each morning. Now, also, year 2022 is just around the corner. So from a personal viewpoint, if you want to ascend above your zodiac sign, you can get your forecast for next year based on your time, date and place. Get the rest of 21 free, and also get a character analysis. And I'll give you 30% off. This will give you searing insights into what you can expect, help you to grasp opportunities and avoid some of the pitfalls. Please see the link beneath this video. Hello Pisces, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for December for the Sun or the Ascendant. So Neptune goes direct on day 1. Neptune is very much to do with creativity and appreciation of poetry, music, writing. It could, for some Pisces people, give you some real psychic gifts. Certainly the gift of compassion is quite a common one with a lot of Pisces people, who often do work where you really go the extra mile to help those who are less fortunate, and that's a wonderful trait. But I think Neptune going backwards in your own sign may have meant your own physical vitality. If it's right on a key point in your natal horoscope, it may have affected your physical vitality over this last 5 or 6 months. So now that can get better for you. But Neptune also forges a brilliant link to the planet of drive, passion, instant gratification, yes, Mars, which is in your sister water sign of Scorpio through to the middle of the month. And Mars in this sector is really at home because it's the ruling planet of Scorpio traditionally. So the water triplicity is augmented here. And if there is something you want to do, breaking out, travel around work, I think is a very real possibility for you in the first half of this month. But you could still be pushing forwards with work possibilities later in the month as well. Now also, not only is Neptune forging a brilliant link to Mars at the very start of this month, they are also, Mars and Neptune, linking to Venus and Pluto. And Venus is in an extended journey through the sign of Capricorn, very much to do with your future hopes, but friendships. If a friendship isn't working very well and you feel that someone's been taking you for granted, Venus can join in with Pluto, could see you decide to call a halt. There's two exact points, the 11th and the 25th. The retrograde starts on the 19th. And that could be the point where you really are thinking, is someone quite as sincere and genuine as you would like? So that can give you some food for thought. But it can work in lots of different ways, this influence. You may find yourself being connected to a friend, perhaps an old friend, in a more potent way. It's also possible that a friend could become something much more. Now, getting a clinch under the mistletoe may be something that you'd like to do, but it may have some kind of be impacted in some kind of way by COVID regulations. It depends on where you're located and what the current situation is for you personally. But there could be some merriment around friends, but it's merriment with purpose, with Pluto in the mix. It's going to have some significance. If someone offers you something in business and wants to be your friend as well, it could be fabulous. But equally, there could be some strings attached. So just be conscious of what anyone's motives are, but also your own. Now, the new moon, the solar eclipse on the 4th, gives you a glorious chance to power forwards around goals and ambitions. Not just this month, but in the first 5.5 months of the new year. And Saturn, yes, Saturn has been giving you a bit of a beating, I feel, for the spring of 2020, and then from the 17th of December 20 till now. There may have been times when you felt really quite isolated, and just, especially if you live on your own, and the COVID situation has been very, very difficult for a lot of people, but that isolation is something that's very tough. And Saturn in the 12th house may have accentuated that feeling of feeling separated from people. Now, I know your ruling planet Jupiter has been in Aquarius as well, and is as we start this month. And that's been better because it's pushing you to embrace your more spiritual dimension in order to deal with whatever is coming your way. But Saturn in its link with this solar eclipse is actually really supportive. It's suggesting what you've done behind the scenes, the sacrifices you've made, the hard work that you've put in can start to be recognised by someone in a very influential position, and that can be very good for you going forwards. Also, Mars and Pluto collaborating in the first 10 days of this month. That's a powerhouse if ever there was one. Mars in your 9th house of travel, adventure, opening things up, and Pluto in your 11th house of the collective. Well, if you did get away with a group of people for the first 10 days of this month, it could turn out to be a very jolly occasion, even if it is to do with work. The 11th does see Venus go into an exact conjunction with Pluto for the first time. The 13th sees Mercury move out of an area which, for you, has, I think, through the sign of Sagittarius, giving you an opportunity to think about retraining, but publicising your talents as well. But its moving to Capricorn is much more to do with the social sphere. I think there's going to be lots of getting in touch with people, and somebody is going to want you to join in. And if you have felt a little bit not left out because anyone's being potentially deliberately mean, perhaps thoughtless, perhaps neglecting, for sure, because those are traits that are quite common, unfortunately, these days. But you're going to find that invites are coming your way, which is going to be lovely. The 13th also see Mars swap with Mercury and fire right to the top of your scope. For the last 2 weeks of this year, the first 4 weeks of next year, you can really use this to promote your message powerfully, show extra confidence, take more responsibility, and generally show leadership qualities. that you may already have, but they can just be enhanced by the extra vibrancy that Mars in the most visible part of your situation can give you. The 16th to the 21st can be the luckiest part of this month for many of us, because Jupiter, your ruler, links fantastically well with the Sun in Sagittarius, but Jupiter also rules Sagittarius. This again could be someone recognizing at last, long last, years of slog, dedication, sacrifice, and even if it's just a card or a bunch of flowers or a text of thanks in a professional context, that could lift you and lift your spirits enormously. The 19th, however, does see a full moon in a very tender area. It's just maybe if you're working and you're working in a service or support role, getting the time for you to have your rest with your family and loved ones could be a bit of a juggling act. I know that might seem a very obvious thing today to say, but at this time of year, but I'm just saying that the full moon on the 19th is in your 4th house of home and family. So if you feel very committed at work, you may sort of be yearning for the time to go and get some last minute gifts and think about your own needs and putting the Hoover around or finishing that last minute decoration if you've got anyone staying. The 19th also sees Venus go into retrograde, and Venus retrograde in the 11th house could prove to be very sentimental for you. You know, there may be someone that you thought was fully out of your life. Maybe they're not. I don't want to raise your hopes if you're thinking more in terms of a romantic side. This could be more of a friendship or someone that you did have some kind of deep connection with. And maybe you're being given a choice to revisit this situation. Maybe you're going to hear from someone who still is reaching out to you, but you've been unsure. This Venus retrograde, along with Pluto, especially on Christmas Day, is really going to see you thinking very carefully and perhaps reconsidering, but it will be your choice. Now on Christmas Eve, that punishing right angle between Saturn and Uranus, which has been the most dominant influence for the whole of this year and has created a lot of nervous tension, stress and worry for a lot of Pisces people, I feel, it does become exact. The two started to come back within 3 degrees of a square in the last week of November. So it comes back on Christmas Eve. What I would say is, whatever you do, don't give yourself any exposure to people or social media who you know do not feed your soul. So if there are people in your world, they may not be close friends, but they may be people you need to mix with, colleagues, neighbours, people in the neighbourhood, or the vibe. Social media generally can be a wonderful place to connect in a positive way, but a lot of the time people are sharing, wounding stuff. It's not always a good idea to be exposed to it, because sometimes we need to just protect ourselves. So I would say you need to protect yourself just around the Christmas time. But Venus combining with Pluto on Christmas Day itself could lead to a jolly celebration, but also a heartfelt one. And then Jupiter returns to your sign on the last 3 days of this year. And that's something to really feel happy about, because it's going to move you into the moment. You can't change the fact that Saturn is going to continue with you in 2022, and that is going to be potentially tough. But Jupiter gives you the chance to move forwards on the things that are working well for you, creative strands, where you're feeling good. I think Saturn's lesson is to come to terms with your own vulnerabilities, to come to terms with separations from your past, to come to terms that life isn't always a perfect process, to come to terms with fear. And Jupiter is very much about hope. So as you come to the end of this year, you're being given a glorious opportunity to enter the new one with great hope. And the combination of energies, augmented by the Sun's movement on the winter solstice of the 21st into Capricorn, your sector of friendship, to join with Venus, Pluto, Mercury, is great. And I think you're going to have a really jolly time, particularly over the New Year celebration. Also, the Sun Saturn does forge a very stable link with Mars as this year comes to a close. So whatever you are doing behind the scenes that's worthwhile, that's dedicated, that's showing real depth of commitment, it can be recognised this month. And if there are some people who don't get you, steer well clear. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Pisces. Wishing you a very happy Christmas and New Year. Take care and goodbye.